there are probably about 5 slides, and I've got another site open so I can give you some examples of what I've been up to the last couple of years. So I put at the top of this slide, reality check. July 2010, I was asked to take over a module that was failing. It was a core module within the undergraduate pre-registration nurse education programme. It was a combined degree diploma programme. All nursing students have to go through it. Core generic module. And you'll see from the comments I put on, these are the kind of comments that I would receive when people started the module, and that was twice a year. So every time I start the module, it's main complaint, nurses don't do research. What do you mean evidence? Why do I need to use that? I'm practical. So I'm a practical nurse, all this kind of commentary. So after taking over the module, was really fortunate to come into the module at a time at which CAIeRO was being introduced. Of course, I'm a counsellor at the time, but it was introduced, and I'm very facilitative worker, and I chose to basically draw everybody together that had some sort of input into research methods at level 5. So I enlisted everybody that I possibly knew on the face of this campus and more, and chose to draw together so learning technologists, librarians, the research arm for Centre of Health and Wellbeing, current module team, student representatives, that's the thing. And we basically took 2 days, and service users, and latterly, and we chose to spend 2 days just using this idea of how can CAIeRO offer us the opportunity to be stuck in the teapot, and we were, and it was hard, with lots of fruit, chocolate, fluids, and just spend the time, suspend ourselves, if you like, in not some form of animation, but be there for 2 days just looking at what was research and why were students failing this module. At the rate of approximately, we would have 120, 150 students twice a year coming into the module, of which 40 of those students would possibly fail at completion of a module on every occasion. So we had a real problem. So we just basically, and if I just flick onto the next slide, recognised, and I've chosen this picture purposely, I've chosen the language purposely, so it's this idea of vehicle to drive. We use CAIeRO as an opportunity to have the time to be together, to suspend our marking, to suspend our teaching, to suspend the nurse, lecturers, student, academic, librarian, learning tech, just people in the room. How can we get folks to understand the importance of research, and how we can embed that or engage people to understand why or how research is so important to who we are and what we do as practitioners. So we started with this kind of nightmarish face driving, and I didn't purposely go out to look for someone who's got blonde hair driving a car manically, because the resemblance is there for a purpose. But also this is what we were aiming for. We chose to, over those 2 days, really look at a clear road ahead. We really wanted to get a sense of, this is where the direction is going, we need drive, we need focus, but we also needed a sense of how can we draw everybody together, and it won't be bumps and twists in the road, it's always going to bumps and twists, but how can we get that road as smooth as possible? How can we make the journey through the module as simplistic as possible? So we chose to use this opportunity for it to its fullest extent, and mind-mapped madly around what it was we chose to seek from being engaged with each other in this environment, shut in, door locked, aircon on, and had these 2 days, as I said, just to make use of that time. And what we came up with was a philosophy. I'll just flick forward. What you may not be able to see because the board isn't large enough, but the philosophy that we came up with, and we spent lots of time around the semantics of research, but the philosophy came up with was, this module aims to introduce concepts of research and its relevance to your nursing practice, so putting the emphasis directly back to the students. It will enable you to develop professional curiosity, so using quite an old-fashioned word, but it was this real sense of open up the curiosity shop, thinking about what do we mean by curious? Why can't we use research in practice? Why are people afraid of the word research? but we also linked it to like this idea of professional curiosity. Why shouldn't we be curious about the practice we're engaging with? And that's where we start to look at this real sense of vehicle for change and bring it back to the individual. So we wanted people to use research, but in a way of being critical and using this critical eye, using their vision, using their ability in a positive way, and asking them, and we were very careful about the language, to decide for themselves. Because what we asked nursing students who were going through the process of education to be registrants is to have that curiosity about their practice. We want them to be professionally curious because we want them to be safe practitioners. And if we didn't develop that or even start to list those kind of thoughts, then we were going nowhere. And that's why we didn't. That's why, going back to the previous slide, you saw this clear road ahead. Yeah? Because we were also thinking succession plan. I want someone that knows what they're doing when they're caring for me. They need to be professionally curious. So that's where we're at. And that's what we're talking about. We want healthcare practitioners that are safe. And to do that, we need them to be able to understand the practice they're engaging with. We revisited in 2011 with a new group of students, again with the T-Pod, again with the support of the Learntech academics, librarians, and a bunch of staff members, because we were revisiting not only the module and the changes that were made, which I'll show you in just a moment, but we felt that we needed to have a redevelopment. We needed to test out how well it had done. But we also needed to test out and think about future development, because we were in the process of developing a new graduate curriculum. Purely graduate nurses, all about the application of research. So we chose to use CAIeRO in a different way, building what we knew, building on the experience that was positive, but also looking towards the future again. Again, this clear road, horizon, mapping. Okay? So let me just take you back. So these are the kind of words that...
I thought I was the only one, but somebody else did it, and I know what it means. Sorry.
CAIeRO was a course development term, so it's where we take a module, break it down to its sort of key components, and then build it back up in slightly new design. So it's either an existing module or one that is new from scratch.
So it's like a workshop.
It's like a 2-day workshop, really. So it's a couple of days workshop where we
they're very good. I've done a couple.
We work with a number of people in the team, so you've got all of yourselves as academics, you've got learning technologists, you've got librarians in there, you might have students as stakeholders, actually in the process itself, and then what we do is we work with you as a team, and then at the end of the 2 days you've actually got a good framework to then actually develop the module from. Okay. If you're interested in that, I can talk about that a bit more over lunchtime.
That's fine.
That's okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
My apologies. I don't expect that detection that people say. I do apologise. So, this is kind of language we're starting now to get from the students. This is what we start with. The kind of words that we're finding students coming out with, what I'm quite pleased about, we would start with, we do a pre-Wordle, post-Wordle, again sort of mini evaluation of where they're at. This is a post-Wordle, this is at the end of the research methods. What I'm pleased about is the biggest word they're using here is information, because they're getting over the fact that research, they're not afraid of the word research. They're actually embracing that word and seeing it as something that will inform their practice. Because obviously, nursing care, healthcare practice, whichever healthcare environment or practitioner field you may come from, it's this word of information that's most important. So for us as academic nurses within this module, we want to be sure that people understand that the information they're engaging with, they can impart it or enhance it or make it available for the clients they're working with. So that's why I'm pleased about the terminology that's coming through the discussions with students. And all these other lovely words relating to research, but this is the one that I'm really pleased to see that's actually it's coming out. Thanks, Rob. So, as Rob just indicated, you have this time, you have this engagement, you've got these 2 days as a workshop with a bunch of people, but as the module leader, you have to then take that information and do something with it. So you go from having all these lovely people around you, and all these great ideas, and this curiosity and development and creativity, and you go, all right, it's me then. And that's, again, this is where this business comes in. So from being fairly naive about Nile, other than as a repository, I have had the benefit of learning technology support, especially Andy, and also some support from Alan and Rob. But I've started to look at how we can best use Nile as more than just a storage facility. If I can show you, again, take you through. Now it says working it. So what we chose to do, and I've chosen to make the module, I guess, an extension of my professionalism. So everything's organised, structured, and hopefully easy to access, because it's almost like it's becoming an aspect of how we project ourselves. So everything, and again to Andy's comments, give everything, make everything translate to itself. So the timetable will relate to the session material will relate to student engagement. They work through a timetable that has numbers. Everything is logical, and again fits with the research process. We've also chosen, if I just flick back, to use real people, real research. So we've actively engaged individuals who engage in the research within the Centre of Health and Wellbeing, or individuals, staff members that are undertaking research, be that at bachelor's, master's, doctoral, wherever. And we engage them directly with their research in the module. So we've used video clips, we've used flip cameras, we've had pictures, we've had posters, anything that somebody generates within the School of Health, I basically glean like a magpie and put into the module, so that the students can see that their lecturing staff are engaging with research, their nurses, they're capable, they can engage with this. And we also use the PhD full-time students come talk to them, so they get this real sense of, I could do this, this is something I can achieve. So for example, we had someone come and talk about dementia and sexuality recently, and Jane Yall, who's one of the doctoral students, talked 15 minutes passionately about her subject, which is dementia, and how dementia does, or how people that have dementia still have sexual needs, and how their loved ones deal with that. Now that is very meaningful from a qualitative perspective, but you've got somebody that's living and breathing research who's real. So bringing that back, they can see how that relates to both their engagement with research, but also how they use that within their professional practice. So you've always got this link between academic life and professional practice. So these words are the cornerstones, if you like, of how this module works. Humour, honesty, reality, because that's most important. Application, both personal practice, personal and professional practice. Motivation, rejuvenation, this is key. Because what you find is when you start on this journey of creating something new, you've always got to develop it. And that's that clear road. And consistency and reinvention. So this module will continue to reinvent itself until it completes within the next 4 years. And the benefits of what we've learnt from it will take forward into the new graduate curriculum. So if I can bring you to the last slide. This is an example of the formative assessment the students undertake. There's a summative assessment, which is 2,500 word research critique on quantitative or qualitative research. But as a group, in professional working, is demonstrated with the students selecting a subject of choice upon which they will pull together a number of research articles. They critique, put together on a poster, and then do a demonstration of that in the library foyer. So they're offering that back to others to enhance their practice, and this is one of the examples that we've had recently. Okay, so that's what we do at the moment. Any questions? Stone silence.
Okay, how successful has it been? Because you said you had 40 on average failing. Yeah. What's your current figures? Has it had an impact?
Yes, it has. What we found was that again, we have student cohorts between 120 and 150, between a February and October cohort. So that has made a major change. We're still getting people saying this is hard, but we're reframing and taking it back to them and saying, well, what do you expect? So I guess what we're also trying to create, one module at a time, is the real sense of, maybe you're in university, because we're changing culture, you're in university structure, you are expected to undertake research, you're expected to undertake reading around the subject matter, we are expecting you to be able to understand the practice that you're engaging with, not just doing what you're told. And that's a major cultural shift for us.
Yeah. Is this still level 5, Jacquie? This is still level 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought, because I teach at the moment level 6 and police officers, and most of them are sort of either serving officers or serving specialists, and they have that cultural, well, why do I want to know that?
Yeah,
Why do I need to know that? Because I just go out and arrest people,
Yeah. That's what I'm doing. I'm here to care. Why do I need to know that? Yeah, I'm safe. I'm safe. How do you know you're safe?
Yeah.
It's that. It's all that. It's always this real sense of putting it back, reframe. How do you know you're safe? Where's your evidence? Show me. Show me your rationale for that practice. It's a real sense